Dodge is one of the greatest American car brands of all time, famous for its muscle car heritage and those legendary Hemi V8 engines. But Dodge isn't just about V8s. They've also built incredible sports cars with V10 engines. I would like to welcome you to my new series called The American Legends, the history of American car brands. Today, we start with a story as old as the industry itself, the history of Dodge. A story about the two brothers who engineered more than cars. They engineered a legacy. By the way, what's up guys? This is No Seconds Lost and I would appreciate you to leave a like and subscribe to my channel because it really supports my work. In the late 19th century, America was changing fast. The automobile was just starting to turn heads. But making a car wasn't that easy. John and Horace Dodge, two brothers that had a vision. They didn't just want to build cars. They wanted to build great cars. Their journey began humbly, manufacturing parts for other automakers. They worked with ransom odds, but their biggest break came when Henry Ford trapped them to supply parts for his revolutionary Model T. Why was this significant? Because the Dodge brothers weren't just suppliers, they were innovators. Their precision-made engines and transmissions helped Ford put America on wheels. In fact, by 1910, over 90% of Model T cars had Dodge components. The Dodge brothers specialized in durable parts that can stand rough roads and hard use, something Ford desperately needed to scale production. Their parts were known for tighter tolerance, better materials, and more reliable assembly, giving Ford cars a competitive edge. By 1914, the Dodge brothers were ready to create their own cars, one that would be tougher, faster, and better built than anything else on the road. When Dodge launched their first car, the Model 30, it immediately set itself apart. It wasn't cheap, but it was solid. Unlike most competitors who used wood frame covered in metal panels, Dodge built the first all-steel body American car. The innovation not only made the vehicle sturdier and safer, but also helped the brand build a reputation for durability. The Model 30 had a 4-cylinder, 212 cubic inch engine, delivering about 35 horsepower. That might sound tiny today, but back then it was enough to cruise at 45 to 50 miles per hour, making it perfect for the rough roads of early 20th century America. But Dodge didn't just stop there. They added features like stronger frame and cooling system and comfortable interior. Sales were strong because Dodge appealed to buyers who wanted value and quality, not just cheap cars. Sadly, both brothers John and Horace Dodge passed away. After attending the National Automobile Show in New York City during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, John died on January 14, 1920, and his brother Horace died on December 10, 1920. Their sudden death left the company in a precious position, but their legacy was secure. The Dodge company was left to the families and new leaderships, who kept the brand moving forward. But in 1928, the Dodge Brother Company was sold to Walter Chrysler's growing corporation. This marked the beginning of a new era for Dodge. Under Chrysler, Dodge became a part of a larger automotive family. Chrysler positioned Dodge as its performance and mid-tier brand, filling the gap between Plymouth and luxury Chrysler models. This gave Dodge access to more resources, better technology, and stronger dealer networks. In 1937, before all this, Chrysler created the new Mopar brand. This name actually stands for Motor and Parts, to provide parts and accessories. When World War II hit, Dodge transformed its factories from building cars to building war machines. The demand for rugged, reliable vehicles was important and Dodge was ready. The Dodge WC series trucks became the backbone of the Allied forces. These trucks hauled troops, weapons, and supplies through mud, snow, and battlefields across Europe and the Pacific. The WC series featured 4-wheel drive capability, a powerful inline-6 engine producing roughly 92 horsepower, and a lightweight yet stronger chassis designed for durability. Dodge produced over 250 military vehicles during the war, a staggering number that showcased their industrial might and engineering reliability. Dodge also produced the powertrain for the iconic Jeep, helping create a new era of off-road military vehicles. After the war, in the 50s and 60s, Americans saw the rise of muscle cars. that were more than transportation, they were a statement. Dodge decided to go with such models as the Dodge Charger and Super B, each one pushing boundaries, performance, and style. Introduced in 1966, the Charger was built to dominate NASCAR tracks and street alike. Under the hood, the Charger offered a lineup of powerful V8 engines, but the best engine was the 426 Hemi, a massive 7-liter engine pushing 425 horsepower. So why is Hemi so special? Because of its hemispherical combustion chambers, which improved airflow and combustion efficiency, delivering more power with less fuel. The Charger wasn't just a beast mechanically, it was the beginning of the iconic muscle car look, with a long hood, wide stance, and hidden headlights that made it look like a sleek predator ready to hunt. The 1969 Charger Daytona added aerodynamics features such as the nose cone and the giant rear wing, making it the first NASCAR car to break 200 miles per hour. The wing generated downforce to keep it glued to the track, a breakthrough in race car design. While the Charger was a showstopper, Dodge made muscle accessible with the Super B and Cornet. The Super B launched in 1968, packed a 383 cubic inch V8, producing 335 horsepower, enough to embrace more competitors. The Cornet ranged from a 380 I96 to a 440 Magnum V8, letting buyers choose their position based on power and budget. The muscle car era faced a crash in the early 70s. Due to rising insurance costs, fuel pricing, and emission regulations killed the fun of muscle cars. But Dodge wasn't done. The 1970 Challenger was introduced to compete with the Mustang and Camaro, offering a mix of style and brutal power, with the engine options range from the 225 cubic inch Slant 6 to the monstrous 426 Hemi. In 1971, Dodge released the Demon, a high-performance version of the Dart. The Demon was a sleeper, hit with lightweight parts, aggressive canes, and a special Demon package that made it a favorite on the drag strip. It's officially rated at 275 horsepower to avoid higher insurance. The Demon actually produced closer to 340 horsepower, making it a secret weapon. But it didn't gain the kind of popularity. At that time, Americans were more Christian. And the name Demon just didn't fit with people who were going to churches. In 1973, oil crisis sent shockwaves through the auto industry. Gas prices skyrocketed overnight, and muscle cars, once the symbol of American freedom, became so expensive that nobody wanted to buy them. Insurance companies, fearing the power under the hood, jacked up premiums on muscle cars, making them even less affordable for the average driver. The government regulation tightened emission standards, and the muscle car era, as we know, started to begin to fade. Into the 80s, the Dodge leaned into smaller cars and new technologies, producing models as the Aspen and Diplomat, which were more about reliability than horsepower. However, Dodge introduced the Daytona in 1984. It was a sporty hatchback coupe that represented Dodge's attempt to merge efficiency with performance. It wasn't a V8 engine car, it was a 2.2-liter inline-4 that pushed around 150 horsepower. When it came to American performance legends, no car embodies pure power like the Dodge Viper. Introduced in 1992, the Viper wasn't just a new sports car. It was born from the mind of Bob Lutz, a Chrysler executive with a vision to build a car that would shake the world. For starters, it was powered by a massive 8-liter V10 engine, no turbochargers, no superchargers, just a raw displacement. The big V10 made out 400 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque, making the Viper one of the most powerful American cars on the road at that time. But power was only part of the story. The Viper was designed to be brutally simple. No power steering, no ABS brake at launch, and no traction control. That made it a car that demanded respect. The Viper quickly earned a cult following. Racing enthusiasts loved it too. The Viper became the dominant force in motorsports, winning the endurance races like the 24 Hour of Le Mans and the various GT championships. Over the years, the Viper evolved, getting more power, more technology, but never losing its aggressive character. From the original RT10 Roadster to the GTS Coupe and the insane ACR track-focused versions, the Viper stayed true to its identify as Americans' no-compromise supercar. And then the Neon SRT4 came. Released in the early 2000s, the Neon SRT4 was a compact 4-cylinder turbocharged beast that surprised everyone. With around 230 horsepower from a tiny 2.4-liter engine, it was lightweight, quick, and affordable, proving Dodge could still make performance cars that appealed to a new generation. By the late 90s and early 2000s, muscle cars were due for a serious comeback. The roaring beasts of the 60s had been replaced by safer and more practical vehicles, but Dodge wasn't about to let that legacy fade away. In 2008, after years of teasing concept cars, Dodge unveiled the new Challenger, a bold retro-inspired muscle car that stole the show. Styling from the 70 Challengers were everywhere: the long hood, the wide stance, and the aggressive grille. The base model came with a 3.5-liter V6, but the real excitement stands with the RT trim. It had a 5.7-liter Hemi V8 pushing around 375 horsepower. However, we got also the SRT8, that stands for Street and Racing Technology, by the way, that uses 6.1-liter Hemi V8 delivering 425 horsepower. Unlike the two-door Challenger, the Charger was reborn as a full-size 4-door sedan, but it still carried the muscle car spirit. In 2006, the new Charger combined aggressive styling with practicality, finally giving muscle fans a performance car that could handle family duties too. After that, we've got a crazy car from Dodge that shocked the world with its performance, the Hellcat. It was launched in 2015, brought with the muscle car back to its forefront with 707 horsepower. Under the hood of the Dodge Challenger and Charger Hellcat models was a supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi V8. The Hellcat could sprint from 0 to 60 in just about 3.6 seconds, with a top speed of around 200 miles per hour, a number that made it one of the fastest American muscle cars ever produced. Dodge equipped it with the modern technology, adaptive suspension, advanced traction control, launch control, and customizable drive modes. So why was the Hellcat even made? The Hellcat was made to compete with the cars such as the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 and the Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. After that, the Hellcat family released the new trims such as the Hellcat Red Eye pushing 797 horsepower, the Demon that launched in 2018 packing 840 horsepower with race-ready features like the trans brake and drag radials, and later the Demon 170 that has 1023 horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 1.66 seconds and does 945 pound-feet of torque. Sadly, this story has a bad ending, because as you all know, Dodge cancelled in 2023 the Hemi V8 and ended the good-looking cars as well. They've entered the EV world, but however, while they introduced us the new Daytona EV, fans were mad at Dodge, so Dodge quickly ended the EV and introduced us the i9 6 with a new design. That's all from me. Comment below which American car should be next in this series. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you guys in the next video.